It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show.
Welcome to the Dep Lewis Show, episode 164. This is your host, Dep Lewis, and today is Saturday, January 24th, 2026. A great day for a podcast about video games and more. So I hope you're doing great out there in the world, wherever and whenever you're listening to this. Thank you so much for being here. If you're listening in real time, I'm recording this podcast a day early because there is a snowstorm, a blizzard, and an ice storm going across the United States this weekend. I'm a North Carolina resident, so we're expected to get some ice at least, is what it sounds like. There's been some crazy predictions out there, but it seems like it's going to be something. It's very, very cold and windy out, so I wanted to make sure I could get the podcast out in case my power does go out. So well wishes to anyone out there affected by the cold and the storm and anything like that. But wanted to talk about the video games today. So that's the plan. So the first order of business is to ask you to follow Dep Lewis Show everywhere. Full episodes of Dep Lewis Show available anywhere you can find a podcast. Find the best place to subscribe and listen weekly. Places like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Amazon Music, and more. YouTube is also a great place to watch replays of games live or check out the videos later. If you would like to support the show even further than just listening, patreon.com/Dep Lewis Show is available if you'd like to subscribe monthly. Also, Venmo at Dep Lewis Show is available any day, anytime, for any amount if you would like to support the show. Today's show will have 3 sections as always. The first section, I'll tell you about what video games I've been playing since I've last talked to you on this microphone. The mid section, which is it's not mid in quality, it's the middle of the show. That's where I'll tell you everything going on around the video game world that you need to know. And the third and final section is a break from all the video game talk. That's the miscellaneous talk section. And I normally get into the worldwide world of sports, and that will be the case today, where I tell you what is going on with all my favorite teams. So let's start the show. Let's get into some video game talk. So what have I been playing in the past week? And the main game I've been playing is a blast from the past, a blast from the 2020 past, and that's Animal Crossing New Horizons. I don't know if I can confidently say it's got me sucked back in, but I've been making some good progress and having a lot of fun with this, and I've been playing it daily for, I guess, over a week now, and I've been having some fun with this. So I have restarted a file. I did that maybe a month or 2 ago with just a little bit of progress, but I restarted a file just to kind of get something going in preparation for the Switch 2 update, along with the free update for everyone out there, even for the Switch 1 version. So that's available now. So you can buy the outright Switch version for $64.99 US. If you own the original version, you can pay $4.99 US to upgrade it, or you can still play the Switch version and download the free. I think it's a 3.0 update, so it has some new features in the game. So there's definitely some new stuff going on in the Animal Crossing New Horizons across the board, and I've been going through the early motions. The main thing I've been trying to do is get Isabelle on my island because she's my favorite character in the Animal Crossing world. And I think that's actually going to take place tomorrow or the next day. I just got notice from Tom Nook that he's going to upgrade the resident services building, and I think that's when Isabelle comes to town. So I couldn't really remember the cadence for how you get her, but I did some internet searching, and I believe it's related to Tom Nook asks you to build interior and exterior items for 3 new residents coming to town. So you build these items and these people start moving in. And I think once all 3 of them move in, that's when the resident services building gets upgraded. And I believe that's the case. So I think I'm really, really close to that. And I'm excited to get Isabelle and, be able to see one of my favorite characters again. So I've been having fun with this. My last person just moved in yesterday. I'm generally liking my villagers I have so far. I have one lion who is he's just a weightlifter guy, and he's probably my least favorite, but I guess even with the mix of other people I have going on, I have Claude, I have Carmen, I have Pashmina, and then I have the lion guy, and they're all pretty decent, so I'm kind of happy with that so far. And then, one of the other parts of the game is getting other villagers and looking for them, and, sometimes they'll ask to move away and things like that. So I'm just slowly remembering all the fun of this game, and it is just as fun so far the second time around. Excuse me. So what am I doing right now in this game? I'm probably just kind of focusing on making more money. I've been doing this so far by just collecting the fruit and selling that, and I've been chopping a lot of wood. Maybe I need to start crafting some things and selling it, or maybe just selling the wood. But I need to get on my bell grind in this game a little bit, and then also clean up the island still. I haven't even cleaned up the island fully. I've been trying to keep it a little more natural this playthrough, but I do want to keep the island clean and get somewhere. I got to get somewhere towards the 5-star island, which is a long way away. But small progress, and going to try to do things a little bit differently than the first time. So I've really been enjoying the fishing in this game. I've been enjoying talking to the characters. I enjoy the loop of like collecting things and selling things. I really do that like that. I've been able to design my house a little bit more. I've been buying items for that. I got a cool soup kettle. I got a coffee grinder I just bought today for that. I have some other cool designs. I have a cool football rug. I have some cool wallpaper in my house. I've got some pretty good stuff going on. I have a pretty cool design outside, so I've been having fun with some of the creative stuff in this game as well. I also was able to purchase my favorite song in the game, Bubblegum KK, which you should go listen to from Mr. KK Slider. This plays if you pull up to my house in this game. You can listen to some Bubblegum KK, and you have to hope you get. The daily store has a rotation. You can buy one song in the rotation. You got to hope you get your favorite. So I think they cost around $3,000 in this game, so it's not chump change early on. So I wanted to make sure I get Bubblegum KK. I had to go some days without any music at all, which is very, very sad, but I am the proud owner of the Bubblegum KK record, and it is spinning constantly in my house in Animal Crossing. And today, I hope I can remember to go see Mr. KK Slider in concert tonight, because I have not seen him since I've been back, and he gives you a song. If you listen to him play, he'll give you a copy of the song, so that's a really good way to build out your records and your songs in this game. So KK Slider, hopefully I'll be enjoying your concert tonight. And I've been back in the turnip game. I bought some turnips last weekend. I flipped them for more than double what they were worth, so I'm going to be doing that tomorrow. I'm going to be trying to buy more and get my money up that way. I've been using there's a tracker online you can use. I think it's called Turnip Profit. You have to put in some data points, and it's going to give you a pretty accurate prediction of when you can get the highest return. And it was able to accurately predict that. I'm having to remember that I had a small spike was the pattern that I saw last week. So you have to, if you know that helps it be more accurate in your prediction for next week. So I'm going to put that into the Turnip Profit and hopefully make some money on some turnips this weekend. So I really am back all the way into Animal Crossing. My guy has some cool winter clothes I've been buying. I think it's Mabel is the clother that comes to town. And I've been able to buy some winter clothes, because when you start this game, all your clothes really feel pretty island-like. But I've started playing this game in the winter, so I want my character to be thematic, and I have a couple options going on now, which is very, very nice, because that a lot of customization stuff is a lot of the fun of this game, and I've been having a whole lot of fun with Animal Crossing New Horizons. What else do I want to say about that game? I do think it looks better on the Switch too. It was kind of not a jarring change, but you could notice like the frame rate or whatever being better, or just the resolution, I guess. And I got used to it pretty quickly. So I'd be interested to kind of see what it looks like previously, but I think it does make the game look good. I think the game looks good on Switch 1. It has a really great art style, and it's not like too intensive of a game in general, but super fun. So that's been the main thing I've really been playing in the past week. But I have been playing some other games as well. Another game I guess I've been just making some more progress on. I've already started a file on this. That's Super Mario Galaxy 2. So I don't know if I've ever completed this game. Back in the day, I played a good portion of it. Super Mario Galaxy is one of my favorite games of all time. And I want to make some Super Mario Galaxy 2 progress. So that's what I've been doing. And I think, one thing I was kind of noticing, a big difference in this one so far is the hub world. So in the first game, you kind of have a hub world, you walk around. In this game, it's more of like if you're playing a 2D Mario, looking at an overworld map and, going from point A to point B. So it's a little more simple in that regard. But the thing that I've been noticing as I've been playing some more levels, that how similar these levels are to Mario Galaxy, which I think is a great thing. So going into this game, I think it's doing a little bit of the Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom thing to me, where I love the first game. The second game is doing some new things, and trying to decide if I like the new things, and maybe even thinking the new things are somewhat better. So I think it's just a really good mixture of things, and I am really enjoying it early on. I've been making some good progress there, and we'll probably keep doing so there. I've also been dipping back into a game from the past, and this one is partially related to friend of the show and friend in real life, Volness. He's on a Balatro kick for the first time, so that's really got me back into the hype a bit. and playing some more Balatro. So this is an outstanding video game. If you like poker in any way, it's a great game to play. It's a really, really good mix on poker. Or if you like roguelike games, like in The Binding of Isaac, I put it in this category. I don't know why. Vampire Survivors, Dead Cells, Spelunky, Super Meat Boy, the Hollow Knights, the Silk Songs. These are these games that are not full price games. They're often under $20, and sometimes they're. I think Balatro is a local thunk, was created by one person, but these games are incredible. They have a really like addictive gameplay loop, and I think are some of the kind of best video games out there. Definitely some of the best value you can get. Balatro is on almost every platform, or I think it really is. I know a lot of people play it on mobile. I think that's what, or I know that's what Volness is doing. A friend of the show, Stoop Woot, is a big Balatro person, and he's played it on his phone. He's played it on his iPad. He's played it on Switch. I have it on Switch and PlayStation. Volness was also saying that you can stream your games from your phone to your iPad. So that's one way you can do it. Or I think you can play this game directly from your iPad as well. So, I mean, I think Balatro nails it 100% in giving you different ways to play. And it's just a really, really fun video game. It's something that I played a lot of. I haven't really completed a lot of the things in the game. But there's a lot to do, and I can kind of just see myself playing this game, for many, many, many years to come. It's one of those games that's like kind of in my permanent rotation, I would say. And I've been making some more progress. I finally did hit a flush recently. I finally recognized a flush. That's just something my brain never really even calculates or considers, and that's something I need to probably do some more. That's kind of been the first piece of advice I got, was to try to go for the flushes more. But then Volness has this article on Reddit he sends, and one of the big headlines of this article was like the misconception of trying to get the flush. So I didn't read through too much of it, but he's been giving me some more tips from it, or Cliff Notes versions of like, saving your money early on, skipping a blind here and there, and just a few other tips I've been trying to, take to heart and take simple things that I can take into my gameplay to try to master Balatro a little bit better. And I've been having fun with this game, and it's back in my rotation right now. So this is the year of the front log on the Dep Lewis Show. So I am focusing on the new releases. I'm trying not to make any lists or have any games I'm trying to complete or go back to the beginning of a franchise, unless I just want to. So I thought about that too much last year, and this year is the year of the front log. So looking forward to new releases. There's not really too much on the calendar that are definite surefire games coming out this year that I want to play. I'm going to talk about one of them in the midsection of this show, but I don't know. Maybe I should keep a list of the front log a little bit, but I'm being honest, there's not really too many games that are day one purchases for me looking like this year. I'm sure there will be some, but it looks like I am going to be playing a lot of the games that I already own, which is fine because I've been enjoying a lot of those. So year of the front log on the Dep Lewis Show. That is the theme of the year, and that is everything going on with me video game wise. I think I'm trying to think if I played anything else really. No, nothing really. So I'm, kind of over here waiting on this snowstorm to come through. So that's really the plan. That's supposed to start, I think, later this evening, and then just be extremely cold overnight. So there's no telling what's going to be going on tomorrow. So, that's what's going on with me. And that's all the video games I've been playing in the past week. So I'm making sure to charge my Switch. I'm charging my DS and my Game Boy Advance. So if the power goes out, at least I'll be able to play some video games and hopefully try to stay warm. All right, so that's going to wrap up the first section of the show. That's everything I've been playing. I've been playing Animal Crossing, New Horizons, Super Mario Galaxy 2, and Balatro. And we talked about it being the year of the front log on the Dep Lewis Show. So that's everything I've got for you for the intro. Please listen to this music and come back for the mid section of the show, where I tell you about everything going on around the video game world that you need to know. Welcome back to the midsection of Dep Lewis Show, episode 164. This is where I tell you about everything going on around the video game world that you need to know. And the first thing I want to talk about was the Developer Direct 2026 from Xbox. This took place last week on January 22nd. I watched Giant Bomb do a talk over of this, so I always think those are kind of fun to go watch, different outlets. I think MinMax did one, possibly Nextlander or Jeff Gerstmann. Those are usually the ones I'm looking at for doing these talkovers, so please go check them out. I think this was around an hour in length. Some of it, seemed like it went on a little bit long, but I think that would your mileage might vary depending on how excited you are for these games. So this was, they told us before they're going to talk about Fable, Forza Horizon 6, and Beast of Reincarnation. Forza Horizon 6 got the release date leaked as May 19th before this even happened, and that did get confirmed during this show. And then Beast of Reincarnation is the game from Game Freak, the creators of Pokemon, so this is a brand new IP from them, so that's pretty interesting. So I mentioned this game in the first part of the show, talking about the year of the front log, and that this game, or I alluded to this game, and that's Forza Horizon 6. And I think this one is my most anticipated game of the year. This is what I would predict my game of the year would be if I had to pick today. And this is the top of the list on the year of the front log for me, Forza Horizon 6. And this game is releasing on May 19th, but that is for Xbox Series X and S and Steam, which I am not an Xbox owner anymore, so I'm going to have to be waiting on the PlayStation 5 version, which they did say will come later in the year, which is nice, because that was something that I was most worried about with this. But I think that will be okay, and I'll be happy to play this game any day I am able to. The developer of this game is Playground Games. The publisher is Xbox Game Studios, and discover the breathtaking landscapes of Japan in over 550 real-world cars and become a racing legend in Forza Horizon's biggest open-world driving adventure yet. So the biggest, most exciting thing about this one is the setting. I think that's kind of the most exciting thing that gets announced for these games over time, and the setting for this one is Japan. I think that's going to be extremely cool for driving around. I think they're toning down the festival aspect of it. That's been kind of more of like the big theme of these prior, and it seems like that's a little bit more subdued this time. And I guess just going to be focusing more on the racing and the open world kind of thing, and taking in the breathtaking landscapes is what they say. But I am beyond excited for this. I'm going to definitely be having some FOMO when this comes out on May 19th and I'm not able to play it. But I've been thinking of playing Forza Horizon 5 again on PlayStation. I played it back on Xbox when I did own one, and that game came to PlayStation 5 last year along with Gears of War Reloaded, and that new Halo 1 remaster is also coming to PlayStation 5. So it seems like a lot of these games, day and date are coming to PlayStation 5 as well, but this one is going to make you wait a little bit. And my hope is it's not going to be too much later in the year, because they've already have a little bit of the setup going along with Forza Horizon 6 of how to, put this game onto the PlayStation platform. So it can't be that much different, coming from my dumb brain, but it has to be somewhat similar. So Forza Horizon 6 is definitely my most anticipated game for 2026. It looks amazing. These games show extremely well. The graphics always look amazing. The cars look realistic. But the best part about these games is actually just getting the games and driving them. And there's always a ton of content, a ton of different types of races to do, a ton of different cars, a ton of different customizations. Some things I never even really entertained too much. I just like getting the cars and driving around and completing the events. And it's just extremely fun. It's one of the most fun open worlds, I think, in gaming that's currently going on. I really don't have too much fatigue with their open world, because you're just driving around the open world completing things. It's just really, really fun. So I can't wait for this game to come out. Forza Horizon 6 looking extremely cool. All right, what else did they show in this developer direct? So they showed off the Beast of Reincarnation. That's the game from Game Freak. This one doesn't have a firm release date, but they are saying 2026. This one's multi-platform for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and Steam. Developer Game Freak, publisher by Fictions. And the back-of-the-box talk is, in post-apocalyptic Japan, humanity's last hope may rest with Emma and her loyal canine companion Ku. Explore what it means to be a human in Beast of Reincarnation, an expansive one-person, one-dog action RPG built around demanding technical combat. What awaits at Journey's End? And this, the gameplay of this, if you have any interest in this, it's really, really impressive. It looks really cool. It makes you, the Giant Bomb guys were talking about, hey, why can't they put these assets and visual quality into Pokemon? But they're doing it over here. It looks really, really cool. It looks unique. There's some unique movement platforming stuff going on. Having your dog companion is very cool. I'm a dog lover, and I think that will be something a lot of people like. And it just looks like a cool game in general. It looks like something new. Looks like something unique, and coming from the Game Freak people makes it even more exciting. So I think this is pretty interesting. I don't know if this would be like a day one purchase for me, but this is one I'll definitely be glad to follow, and I think you should definitely go check it out. It has a little more of technical combat, I think they say in there. Yeah. One dog action RPG built around demanding technical combat. So a little bit trying to tap into the Souls world. I'm sure maybe not as difficult as some of those games, but a lot of people are fans of that, and I think this could be a pretty good blend of all of those things in Beast of Reincarnation. All right, the last game they showed off in the developer direct was Fable. And this one has been a long time coming. The last Fable game was Fable 3 in 2010 for Xbox 360. And Fable is coming to Xbox Series X and S, Xbox on PC, Xbox Cloud, Steam, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Game Pass Ultimate this autumn, is what they say. Autumn of 2026. It will arrive as an Xbox Play Anywhere title. I didn't watch too much of this portion of the event. I'm a little bit skeptical of this still. And I don't know. I don't know what to think about this one. This one's also developed by Playground Games, which is pretty interesting. Publisher is Xbox Game Studios. And the back of the box talk on this one is become the hero you want to be in an immersive open world action RPG where each choice shapes your journey. Reputation is everything and fairy tale endings are never guaranteed. So I am a fan of Fable. Fable 1, I was a big fan of. Fable 2, I think, is my favorite one. I beat that game, I think, a couple times, or maybe almost beat it twice. And the third game I think I played but maybe fell off. So I do have a lot of fond memories from playing Fable back on Xbox, and I guess I've been kind of waiting on like a remaster or revitalization of it, but I just don't know how it's really going to land in the current times. I still don't know how much of a desire I have to play this game, but I'm hopeful that it can be doing something unique. I just kind of feel like it's going to be a little bit something we've kind of seen before, and that's just me kind of just speculating, but that's just kind of the vibe I'm getting from this. But the game director, Ralph Fulton, is talking about this game, and I just took a quote from him I wanted to read to you. He says, "We've always referred to this game as a new beginning because one of the things we were convinced of was that we had to reboot the franchise. It's been a long time since the end of that original trilogy. Nearly 2 generations have passed in video game terms, and those original games are still available to play today, looking even better than they did back then thanks to the wizardry of backwards compatibility. So we've chosen not to be beholden to the timeline of the original games, the events, the characters, really just to allow ourselves the freedom to build our own Albion and tell our own new story within it." And I think it's a little bit of this quote here that actually had me thinking this way, but I would kind of like some continuity in here. It seems like the clean break, is a reboot, and it's like a hope to get new players into the franchise, but I think you really need to, I don't know if you can do it without the people who are fans of Fable already. It's been so long. I think that's my fear for this game. And maybe that's a little bit of my worry about this game, which is how well this game is going to sell. I know that's something kind of silly to worry about, but if it's not like an outstanding, unique, really, really great game, it doesn't sell that great, it's going to be considered a flop and a disappointment and all of the above. So I don't know. I think it coming out as a Fable game puts a lot of expectations on it, and I think if it's mediocre, I think that's going to be just even more disappointing. It's like one of those things of like going back to the well to a franchise. I think it's going to be either the continuation of this franchise, or this could be the last time we ever see somebody try something with Fable. And I think that's kind of my take on it. And I think that's a tough spot to be in as a developer, because it's like a playoff game or whatever. Win or go home, and we got to see what they're going to do with Fable in the autumn of 2026. So we'll find out pretty soon. I would imagine that's going to get delayed. I don't know why I'm thinking that, but I just don't think we've seen or heard enough about this game for really us to see it in autumn. So we'll see. Fable was the last game shown in the Developer Direct 2026 for Xbox. So those were the 3 main games shown there: Forza Horizon 6, Beast of Reincarnation, and Fable. All right, what other video game news and things do I want to tell you about? The Super Mario Galaxy movie. We talked about Mario Galaxy 2 in the first part, but the Super Mario Galaxy movie, Nintendo has announced a direct for tomorrow. So it's taking place tomorrow, January 25th at 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So I'll tell you about that one. I'll tell you about anything interesting about that next week on the show. So I got to put that into my notes for next week. And this will be featuring an exclusive look at the Super Mario Galaxy movie. And they say, please note that no game information will be included in this presentation. So it's just all movie related. Don't get any video game hopes up. All right. What else is going on around the video game world that I need to tell you about? All right, this one is disappointing news for sure. Ubisoft. They have a whole slew of news here. Ubisoft has canceled 6 projects, including the Prince of Persia Sands of Time remake, which I believe was slated to come out this year. They've also closed 2 studios and confirmed further layoffs in a major company restructure. So a restructure usually is a bad thing for the people who work at a company, because it means people are going to get laid off or lose their job, which I guess is the same thing. But Ubisoft Stockholm, which is the capital of Sweden, is fully closing. So thoughts and prayers to all those people. Ubisoft Halifax, capital city of Nova Scotia, Canada, fully closing. Thoughts and prayers to them. Then restructurings have taken place at other studios' offices, with some with some return to office mandates in there 5 days a week. So I think we've seen a lot of corporate companies doing that recently. And examples for these would be the Ubisoft offices in Abu Dhabi, the Trial Studio in Red Links, and at Massive, which is home to The Division. So I think bad news for Ubisoft in general. I think they're kind of 50-50 on their hit rate with some of their stuff. I think they have a lot of irons in the fire, and they don't put proper care and attention to all of them, which, is, I guess, harder to do as a bigger company. And that's some of the problems here that you get down to with these restructurings and layoffs, and really, really disappointing time for a lot of these people. So just thoughts and prayers to all those people affected out there by the Ubisoft news. And so there's also announced a delay to 7 other titles. And these have not been named, but I think the main one in the speculation is the Assassin's Creed Black Flag remake that was slated, or a lot of people were thinking was going to come out sometime this year. And so that seems like one of the ones caught up in the delays as well. So, bad news over there at Ubisoft, and just always sad to see layoff talk. We've had, can't even count how many times I've talked about layoffs or studio closures on this show since I've been doing it. All right, so back into some video game news, some good stuff we want to talk about. Rocket League, a really fun video game that I haven't played in a long time. This news has me, wanting to maybe re-download it and get back into some games because I do love some Rocket League. But it has an update available now for Nintendo Switch 2. So we're seeing this over a lot of games, but there is a Switch 2 update available now for Rocket League, which is free, and they are offering simplified graphic settings. So the performance/quality toggle has been removed, as Rocket League on Nintendo Switch 2 now uses the best of both settings. It has improved resolution. Dock mode resolution is now locked at 1080p 60 frames per second, and handheld mode has dynamic resolution, but it now targets 1080p at 60 frames per second, but will still reduce resolution as needed to keep gameplay smooth. And I think Rocket League ran fine on Switch 1. I think the preferred way to play would be on PlayStation 5, but being able to play handheld, being able to play with friends over there on Switch, and I think Rocket League is cross-platform now anyway, so I think you can kind of play wherever you would like to, but it getting upgrades I think is just, very, very nice, and I guess I'm kind of saying not completely necessary, but, I guess it's nice. They're also getting visual quality upgrades, increased world detail, higher texture quality in handheld mode, matching docked mode, crisper texture detail with increased. They use some pretty good words in here, so I want to read these to you. I need to kind of look up the meanings, but maybe we'll learn something. Crisper texture detail with increased anisotropic filtering, which reduces jagged lines and blurry edges on surfaces, improved lighting effects, ambient occlusion, that was another one, and higher resolution shadows. So, doing some fancy things over there to the visual on Rocket League, but some Nintendo Switch 2 enhancements available now. All right, this one's kind of a shocking bit of news, but Highguard is a video game. This was the game that closed out the recent Jeff Keighley Game Awards, that everybody was kind of shocked by this style of game, and kind of an unknown game being the final thing of the Game Awards, which is a giant award show each year. But Highguard is going to release on January 26th, which is only a couple of days away from real time if you're listening. So Highguard is releasing for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and Steam. And this one is developed and published by Wildlight Entertainment Inc., and this is from the creators of Apex Legends and Titanfall. So I guess a lot of those developers have created this Wildlight Entertainment Inc. studio. It's a PvP raid shooter where players will ride, fight, and raid as wardens, arcane gunslingers sent to battle for control of a mythical continent. There, they'll clash against rival warden crews for possession of the Shieldbreaker, then break into and destroy the enemy base to secure territory in this all-new breed of shooter. So I think the elephant in the room here is Concord, or just a lot of these online shooters that have flopped, or I guess even Apex Legends is no longer online, but a lot of people getting into this arena of style of games, of multiplayer shooters, and not all of them being successful. Not all of them are getting people to jump away from Fortnite or PUBG or other games they're already currently playing. So this one was kind of shocking to be the closer to the Game Awards, and I think it's shocking that it's coming out already. We haven't really heard a lot about this game between the Game Awards and now. Maybe they're going to let the game do the talking, which I guess is important, but I don't know if I noticed if this one's a free-to-play game or how much the price is, but there's definitely something interesting to follow, because this one's going to have, it's getting a huge push. It's closing out the Game Awards. That's a lot of really, really great marketing for this game, so I don't know if exposure is their problem, but if they're going to be able to deliver one of these style of games that's really going to catch on, I think that'll be the impressive part. But I mean, I guess it's certainly doable. And Highguard, we're going to learn more about it in the upcoming week when it releases on January 26th. All right. Dispatch, that's a very popular game that released at the end of last year, October 2025, developed and published by Ad Hoc Studios. I know a lot of the outlets and people I watch are a big fan of this game. And Dispatch is coming to Switch. It's coming to Switch 1, and it's also getting a free upgrade to Switch 2, and it's becoming available on the Switch platform on January 28th. So that's actually in the upcoming week if you're listening real time. You can pre-order right now and get 10% off, so that will cost you $26.99. The normal price is $29.99 US dollars. Dispatch is a superhero workplace comedy where choices matter, manage a dysfunctional team of misfit heroes, and strategize who to send to emergencies around the city, all while balancing office politics, personal relationships, and your own quest to become a hero. All episodes are out now. And this one, I think a lot of people were a fan of the characters, the main thing, the story, and then also the loop of sending the heroes out onto their missions was really, really fun, of trying to pick the right heroes for the job. Seems like a really cool gameplay loop, but it seems like the story and characters are the star of the show here. And if you're interested in Dispatch, you can play that on Switch on January 28th, so in the upcoming week. All right, some more Switch news. There is a new Switch 2 version of a game from Switch 1 coming out, and this one has a really, a long name like all the other ones. I was debating whether I should put this in my show notes, and I think I'm going to put it in there just because it's funny. But Super Mario Bros. Wonder Nintendo Switch 2 Edition plus Meetup at Bellabel Park is available on March 26th. So I think that's the news here. I think the release date has been announced for March 26th, and I think some of the pricing stuff is news here too. So the Switch 2 upgrade pack, if you already own Super Mario Bros. Wonder, is going to be $19.99 US dollars. So I think that's more expensive than we've seen from the Tears of the Kingdom one, more expensive than we've seen from the Animal Crossing one. Now I'm trying to think about, I don't know how much Kirby. I think Kirby was maybe $10. Kirby might have been $20 as well, but don't quote me on that. Super Mario Bros. Wonder Switch 2, the standard version is $59.99 US dollars. So I'm guessing the Switch 2 version, which I haven't really seen the price on the page yet, but I believe it'll be $69.99 US dollars for the Switch 2 version of Super Mario Bros. Wonder, which is a really, really fun game. It came out October of 2023. I think that was a few months after Splatoon for me, and I did complete this game. And I'm a pretty big fan of 2D Mario in general, and this is one I should probably go back to and play some more of because I really did enjoy it. And the Switch 2 features that they are promoting are you can explore Bellabel Park, an area newly discovered within the Flower Kingdom with your friends and play various multiplayer attractions. You can take on all 7 of the Koopalings and newly added boss courses scattered throughout the Flower Kingdom. You can choose from an even larger cast of characters in this Nintendo Switch 2 edition of the game, which now adds Rosalina and co-star Luma to the existing cast. You can grab the Super Flower Pot power-up to transform into a flower form and throw flowers. Even if your friends don't have the game, which a lot of games have been doing this, you can play with them using GameShare locally or online, which I think is very cool. That was something back in the day, I believe on the DS with Mario Kart. I was able to play with some friends on only owning one copy of the game, and that seemed like something really futuristic. It seems like just a nice touch from the developers and these companies, and it's nice to see that kind of being a prominent feature. I think it really helps out, especially younger gamers, so I think that's a nice thing. Also, new amiibo are available the same day as the game is releasing, which is March 26th. You can get Elephant Mario, you can get Pomplin and Prince Florian, which is one, and Captain Toad. And there's also a Talking Flower amiibo that comes out a little bit earlier on March 12th if you're into amiibo. So I wanted to make sure you know about that. So Super Mario Bros. Wonder Nintendo Switch 2 Edition plus Meetup at Bellabel Park is available on March 26th. All right, the last bit of video game news for this week is an announcement of a video game. This is a franchise I don't have any familiarity with besides knowing that people like it, and I think it generally looks pretty cool. But Life is Strange Reunion has been announced. This is going to release on the same day as that Super Mario Wonder Switch 2 version. So March 26th, what do you know? It's going to be $49.99 US dollars. It's coming multi-platform, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, Steam, and Windows. And in Life is Strange Reunion, it finally brings Max and Chloe back together. Learn more about the circumstances that will bring them back together and how you'll be able to shape their story as co-leads of the game. This is, they're saying, by and for fans of the original. Life is Strange Reunion finally brings Max and Chloe's saga to a definitive close. So I don't really know too much else to say about that. Obviously Max and Chloe are the main characters, or maybe they are. But hopefully they're characters you want to see, and hopefully you've been waiting on their definitive some closure to their relationship here, and you will get that on March 26th in Life is Strange Reunion. So that is all the video game news and thoughts I have for you for this week. So we talked about the developer direct for 2026 for Xbox, including Forza Horizon 6, Beast of Reincarnation, and Fable. We talked about the Super Mario Galaxy movie. We talked about the Ubisoft canceling projects and closing studios and delaying titles. We talked about Rocket League, Highguard, Dispatch, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, Nintendo Switch 2 Edition, plus Meetup at Bellabel Park. And we talked about Life is Strange Reunion. So those are all the video game thoughts I have for you this week, but there's still one final section of the show to go. It's usually pretty short and sweet, and I just kind of keep it's a miscellaneous talk section, but I always like to talk about what's going on with all my favorite sports teams. And let's see, I think, a couple of my teams now are in the off season, but do have some updates for you, some pretty good ones in there, and you don't want to miss it. So come back after this music for the final section of Dep Lewis Show, episode 164. Welcome back to the final section of Dep Lewis Show, episode 164. This is the miscellaneous talk section where I can talk about anything I want to outside the video game world. So I want to get into the worldwide world of sports and tell you what's going on all of my favorite teams. And my favorite NFL team is the Carolina Panthers. It is sadly the offseason for them, but they did make it to the playoffs. They won the division. And their rookie wide receiver, Tedero McMillan, T-Mac, has won Offensive Rookie of the Year officially. So congratulations to him. It was a wonderful season watching T-Mac play. He definitely stood out on the field all year long, and I hope he will be a Carolina Panther for a very, very long time. His rookie campaign in the regular season, he had 70 catches, 1,014 yards, 7 touchdowns, and he averaged 14.5 yards a catch. He was the first-round pick in 2025, pick 8 from Arizona. He's 22 years old right now, 6'5", 212 pounds, and an elite football player, and I'm very, very glad he's a Carolina Panther. So nothing else going on with the Panthers. They picked up Bryce's fifth-year option, something I think I mentioned that last week. But nothing going on with the football world for me as a Carolina Panthers fan. The Final Four are going on in the NFL. The Broncos, the Patriots, the Seahawks, and the Rams, I believe, are the teams. So I'm predicting the Rams are going to win. I think the Patriots have strong contention, but I guess those are my two that I think are going to make it to the Super Bowl. But we will see. I'm not really too much of a fan of any of those teams, so nothing too exciting for me for the NFL season. So basically looking forward to next year over here. In the NBA world, I am a halfway fan of the Charlotte Hornets since I'm a North Carolina resident in the last few years. Since last week I talked to you, they played Denver last Sunday. The Hornets actually won 110-87, so very impressive. Wednesday versus Cleveland, the Hornets lost 87-94, so a defensive struggle of a game there. Thursday at Orlando, the Hornets won 124-97, and the Hornets actually played tonight, I guess, in Charlotte versus the Wizards. And next week, the Hornets will be playing Philly, Memphis, Dallas, and San Antonio. A lot of the talk has been LaMelo and his minutes and coming off the bench and how they're playing him. A lot of the talk has been Miles Bridges is garnering some trade attention, which could get them maybe like a potential first-round pick, which I don't know. I think they're doing some pretty good things. I think the Hornets are making some more noise around the league. They're getting a little more recognition and having a good core of players. And I think sometimes, maybe you got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them. And maybe this is one of the situations where you hold them, where you don't really make any moves. You let these players kind of grow together a little bit more and stay healthy, hopefully, and kind of see how it goes and make moves as you go. I just don't know if they're primed to make like a giant move, like trading away Miles Bridges, who's a really strong offensive player, can play some defense. He's a really big, strong guy, and he's been around there for a long time. So some continuity stuff is nice. And Con Knuppel, looking like Rookie of the Year for real. Looking like an amazing basketball player, like he could be a number one option, possibly, maybe, definitely a number two option. Just a really, really great rookie, looking like he has a lot of stuff figured out and just very impressive for a young guy. So the Hornets have a lot of good stuff going on. And then my favorite team, the Atlanta Hawks, which I'm sad to say that's my favorite team, but I think they're going through a little bit of a, trading away your star beloved player Trae Young curse. And I don't know what's going to take them to wash that away, but it's been really down since that Trae Young trade, and I just think that's it was a bad move. Monday versus the Bucks, the Hawks lost 110 to 112. Wednesday at Memphis, the Hawks won 124 to 122. Friday versus Phoenix, the Hawks won 110 to 103. Next week, they're going to play Indiana, Boston, Houston, and then Indiana once again. But I've been down on them. It's always a little bit tough as a fan of a team when they make a move that's really, really disappointing. It puts a sour taste in your mouth, and it's kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of like the season being over a little bit. It's a little bit of that same feeling for a bit. I'll probably come back and start watching them at some point, but, they're really, really playing poorly, so they're not really giving me much desire to put my attention back over there on those stinking Hawks after they traded away damn Trae Young. And they just have been not able to figure out that roster for years and years and years, and it's been really, really frustrating as a fan of the Hawks. All right, my favorite MLB team, which is my favorite sport, and we're only a couple months away from there, which is very, very exciting. I can already kind of smell the spring training if it wasn't this big winter storm going on. But the Braves are in the offseason. The 2026 season begins for the Braves Friday, March 27, 2026 versus the Royals for a weekend series versus them. We got some bad news, a Hye-Sung Kim injury. The infielder they signed to play shortstop to be their starter, who came over to the team last year, he sustained a hand injury while in Korea and underwent surgery to repair a torn tendon in his right middle finger. So his expected recovery time is 4 to 5 months. The Braves had signed a player before him that was more of a utility player that they were kind of wondering, hey, is he going to play shortstop? Now it looks like that player is going to have to do that. So just very disappointing because this was a pretty exciting signing. He had some good energy and some good production for the Braves last year, and I think was nice to get him back, and was excited to see him, get time to mesh with the whole squad, going into the year, but not going to be able to do so, and the injury bug is always out there in sports. So, T's and P's to Hye-Sung Kim. And then some really great baseball news. One of my favorite players from growing up, one of my all-time great Braves in my mind, and I guess the greatest center fielder in my mind that I've seen play is Andrew Jones. He's going to the Hall of Fame. The 5-time All-Star, 10-time Gold Glove, Silver Slugger, 1,933 career hits, 434 home runs, and 1,289 RBIs. And I think just being able to watch him play the outfield was the most mystical thing about him. It seemed like no ball was ever out of his grasp or his territory or his range, and he also had a bat to prove it, and was a longtime Brave, and just a really, really outstanding player for them, and well deserving of Hall of Fame status. And I think the only Money Mike is scratching a little bit of it. Flashes of his outfield brilliance out there, and some of his bat going shows a little bit of hope for Braves fans that we can maybe possibly have another Andrew Jones one day. But I mean, that is a giant bar, a giant task to fill, and I guess he's up there. Fred McGriff is my favorite Braves player of all time. I think Ronald Acuna. I guess those are my two. I don't know who is my favorite of all time. Fred McGriff is my favorite player growing up, and Ronald Acuna Jr. is my favorite player currently. So it's kind of hard to measure some of those things, but Andrew Jones is definitely like one of the most memorable players from growing up as a Brave. So congratulations to him on being a Hall of Famer. Well deserving there, and go Braves. All right, some general MLB news. There's been a lot of free agent stuff going on, a lot of stuff getting finalized before the season starts. Like I said, we can almost smell spring training. And a player I like from the White Sox, Luis Robert Jr., got traded to a team I really dislike, and that's the Mets. So very sad day for me there in that regard, because I'm a little bit of a fan of the White Sox because I live in North Carolina, and I can sometimes see the AAA White Sox team play, which has been nice. So just a little bit of a chance to get, a little more familiarity with the franchise. And this Luis Robert Jr. trade has been rumored and speculated for a long time, a couple years at least, because the White Sox have been really, really bad, and he's been a good player for them. So one of those cases of, not fitting the timeline for your team actually being good. And it's just sad to see him go to the Mets. The Mets are always trying to make moves, and they're never working out. And I am I dislike the Mets. And I think it's, a little bit, it's somewhat because I'm a Braves fan, but I think it's somewhat rightfully so. I think the Mets are always kind of making bonehead moves, and things aren't going their way. They let Pete Alonso go away in free agency this year, and, they just signed Bo Bichette. Now they're getting Luis Roberts, so they're definitely making some good moves out there of some quality players, but it's just something when you put that uniform on, it's just going to go poorly as a whole. So I don't know. I feel bad for Luis Robert Jr., and, boo Mets is what I want to say. All right, the other There was a lot of news actually this week, but I think the other most high-profile one to me was Cody Bellinger. He, the 30-year-old outfielder, re-signs with the Yankees for 5 years, $162.5 million. So it kind of seemed like it was maybe going to go the other way, but they reached an agreement, and he gets a huge bag of money. It includes an opt-out after the second and third season, and a $20 million signing bonus, and a full no-trade clause. Is the sources are saying that about that. So I don't know if that's true, but that's what sources. I just read some article that was saying that. But congratulations to Cody Bellinger getting the big bag of money. I think he's a fun player to watch, and I'm not a fan of the Yankees, but whatever. I'm a fan of Max Fried up there is about all I can say. And I've had fun watching some of the Yankees players like Judge, and I've always liked watching Stanton, I guess, and Jazz Chisholm. I'm a fan of him, so I definitely do like some Yankees. But that's everything. That's all the MLB news I have for you, and that's all the sports news in general I wanted to catch you up on this week. So we talked about all my favorite teams, the Carolina Panthers, the Charlotte Hornets, the Atlanta Hawks, the Atlanta Braves, and just some general MLB news in general. Some general news in general. And that's everything I got for you for the Miscellaneous Talk section, and that's everything I got for you for the entire show. So I'd like to reiterate some promotional talk from the beginning. Please follow Dep Lewis Show everywhere. Full episodes of Dep Lewis Show available anywhere you can find a podcast. So find the best place to subscribe and listen weekly, places like Apple Podcast, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Amazon Music, and more. YouTube is also a great place to watch and play some games live or check out the videos later. If you'd like to support the show even further than just listening, patreon.com/Dep Lewis Show is available if you'd like to subscribe monthly. That would be the best way to guarantee you get the ad-free version of the podcast always. And there's some pretty good discount options over there for early Patreon subscribers. So please go check me out over there on patreon.com. And then also Venmo at Dep Lewis Show is available any day, anytime, for any amount if you would like to support the show. Just thank you so much for listening. If you are in the United States and are facing this cold storm, the snow and ice storm, thoughts and prayers out to you. Hopefully it will be okay. Hopefully, people are going to lose power. Hopefully it will get back on quickly. And I guess I'm kind of thinking over here, hey, if I lose power for a couple days, I should be, well enough to get through that, but it'll be a bummer. But I think that's kind of, hopefully worst case scenario, hopefully not any worse than that, but we will see. So, I'm recording this at midday on Saturday. I think the precipitation is supposed to start in about maybe around like 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock tonight, something like that. So it's supposed to kind of do that over the whole course of the night. It's supposed to be down in the 20s. I think the wind chill has it down to the 20s right now, so it's really, really cold out there. So definitely a good time to be inside, which I am thankful for, and I hope I will be able to sit inside in the heat. So, thoughts and prayers to everybody out there in the elements that are facing tough times, and, hopefully everyone can get through it. And next week we'll be back just talking about video games and some normal weather. That's the hope here. So, have a great week out there in the world. Thank you for listening to me a day early this week. Be safe out there, and I'll be back next week for another episode of Dep Lewis Show. So please come back then, and I will talk to you next week. Goodbye.